can see the screen.
So if you remember yesterday, we had so yesterday, from yesterday onwards, we are starting a new topic in Python for data science. That is about the data structures. So whereas in the data structures, as you know that data structure is a collection of data elements, and we are having a number of data structures that includes list, tuple, dictionary, and sets. So currently we are on list. So when it comes to list, so list is a one of the sequence data structure, and it follows order. And in simple words, list is a ordered collection of items, and which are separated by comma and enclosed in a square bracket simply. And one more thing is, list is mutable or immutable? Please
Mutable.
mutable. So why mutable? Why list is immutable?
Because the elements in list can be changed.
Exactly, because the elements in the list can be altered or changed. Okay, and one more thing, a list can have multiple data types. That is one thing. Okay, and of course, from we can find out the length of the list also. We can find out the length of the list. Of course, list may have the number of elements. Okay, we can get the number of elements in the list by using the length function, len function. Similarly, so where we can alter the list, when we are saying where we can change the elements in the list. Okay, and for that, so by using append function, so what append function will do exactly? Tell me from your end. So what append function will be doing? Sanjana, please go on.
It will
Adding.
add the elements in the end of it.
And what about insert, Durga Prasad?
Will add the elements in the location.
So what about the remove function, Sanjana?
It will remove the elements from the list.
It will remove the first occurrence of the elements in the list. Okay, provided in the remove function. What is the difference between append and extend? What is the difference between the append and extend?
Append adds the variable to the list and extend adds the elements in the list.
Good. And what is the difference between the delete and remove, Durga Prasad?
In remove, we can delete the insertion of the elements.
Pardon? In remove, we can delete the.
Sir, we can delete, remove, and we directly can delete the elements. So.
Okay. And what about the delete? In delete, based upon the index position, we are removing the certain element in the list.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So that is what exactly but delete. And so by using the list related keywords, so we can do multiple operations. Okay. So checking whether the element was there in the list or not. So by using in and not in function, we can do that activity. And when it comes to reverse, so by using the reverse function, and what we can do, we can reverse the elements in the list. And what is the difference between the sorting and sort? What is the difference between the sorted and sort? Sanjana, sorry. What is the difference between the sorted and sort function exactly?
Sorry, sir. I didn't remember that.
Yeah. About Durga Prasad, did you get a chance to? Just speak up, nothing. There is a character and no one will be saying. Okay, nothing will be happening.
So sorting means in the linely sequence elements.
What about the sort function? What is the difference between the sorted and sort function? In simple words, when it comes to reverse, by using reverse function, we can reverse the elements in the list. That is what about the reverse function. When it comes to sorting function, so we are trying to sorting our elements in the list, whether it is a sequential or reverse. Of course, that need to be pass argument in order to reverse the list in a sequential manner, sorted manner. That is reverse equal true. Here, when you are using the sorted function, here I am trying to reverse the numbers. Of course, this numbers is a list. I was trying to uh, sorting the elements in the list. Okay, by using the sorted function, I will be doing that. And finally, in order to, of course, and finally, this is I'm assigning to a variable. Okay, I'm not doing anything directly to the list. I'm sorting the values in the list and assigning those into a one variable. That is what exactly sorted is doing. We are doing with the sorted. When it comes to sort, so here we are not going to pass anything as a variable. Just by giving the list.sort itself, the list itself is going to be sorting. Okay, sort is the function where the variables, sorting variables or elements or the list is storing itself. But when it comes to sorted, there we need to assign those uh, stored elements in a variable. That is the difference between the sorted and sort. And the sort function won't work out if the what you say, if the list of elements having the string and integers, it won't work out. Why? Because uh, we can't sort A and B, something like that within the multiple data types. Sort list within elements of different data types, it won't work out. And by using the split function, so of course, let's say we are having a string of, let's say we are having a string, and in some of the places the string is having the commas. In order to convert the string into a list, what we are doing, we are separating the string based upon the split function and giving a condition of comma. So based on the comma, we are separating or we are converting the string into a list. Okay, and if you won't give any condition, means by default it will take in the space, white space. Okay, and based upon the white space, or it will be or the converting a string into a list. And what about the list indexing? So just let me know, Sanjana. So where in Python, how the list indexing works?
The index starts from 0,
Yes, good.
and in reverse we can also start the indexing from -1.
Exactly. Here, what is the -1?
4, sir.
Yes, good. So yeah. So list slicing. So list slicing is nothing but in order to if I want a particular portion from the list, so I'll be going for the slicing. So if you do this, like this is how we'll be going for the slicing. So if you do this, means this condition is nothing but it indicates all. So by using this condition, we'll be taking all the elements in the list. And by using this condition 0-4, I will be taking the elements from 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, and 3. 10, 20, 30, 40 will be going to print it. The similar scenarios, we'll be going to do the same activity. What is this means? So here I'll be going to take all the elements, but I'll be altering the elements by using this condition. Okay, that is the reason I'll be getting 10, 30, 50, 70. I'm altering, means I'm skipping one variable. Similarly, if you do this 3-2 means here I'll be starting from the third index onwards. That is 0, 1, 2, 3. From third index onwards, I'll be skipping one element. That is 40, 60. This is how we'll be doing the slicing operation. So from now, today's class will be continuing the other functions in the list, okay, or data structure, and list in extend using place. This is also one of the condition. LST1 is my variable having the elements of 1, 2, 3, 4. LST2 is having the elements of Varma, Naveen, Murli, Brahma. These are all strings. And if I want to, of course, the thing is that if you remember, by using extend function, we are adding elements in the sublist to the main list. Instead of adding a list to the main list, by using extend function, I can add elements in the sublist to a main list. Okay, that is what extend is doing. Instead of extend also, we can do the similar type of operation with the LST1 by using the place condition. Okay, so by using the place condition also, we can do the same thing. LST3 equal to 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I do the same operation with the LST1 plus LST3, what would be the output? If I do a operation of LST1 plus LST3, so what would be my output? Just speak up. No need to worry whether it is correct or wrong, but we need to raise our voice.
1 to 8 numbers will print.
Yeah. Okay. So simply, so by using, instead of going for the extend, I'll be going for the simple plus operator. Okay. List count. So there is a scenario. For example, I'm having a list. The variable is the numbers. The numbers having the list of elements 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 4, 2, 5. Okay. If I want to count how many times the 1 is repeated, how many times the 1 was there in the list, in order to check the frequency of the 1 in a list, I'll be using a simple function called count. So by using the count function of 1, the numbers is my variable having a list of elements, and if I want to find the frequency of the 1 in the list, I'll be using numbers.count of 1, so that we'll be getting the how many times we have 1 as repeat 2 times. Now if I print the count, we'll be getting the 2. Similarly, if I do same thing for the 3, 3, 3, 2 times. Okay, this is also count function. And list looping. So as we know that, so we have the, whereas for loop we can iterate the sequence of elements in the data structure or the stored element variable. That is here my list is a variable. The variable is having the list of elements of 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I want to do a iteration sequentially, and I'll be going for the for loop for element. Of course, don't worry. This need to be anything. This need to be I also. We can take anyone. Very sure. So if you do the print, you'll be getting the 1, 2, 3, 4 list looping. And we have the, this is simple for loop. Okay. And so when it comes to, if you want to do any for loop operation, and one more thing, if I equal to 3, we need to maintain again indentation, print I expected, sorry, forgot. For I in list, if I in I double equal to 3, go for the continue instead of that, print I and continue. Okay, so So here I'm using two conditions. One is the for loop and second one is if condition. So finally, if I double equal print, simply I will be printing the I, else continue. Okay. So here I'm using multiple conditions. So because of the multiple conditions, obviously the code, the number of lines of code is getting increased. Okay. In order to overcome this type of scenarios, so we are going for the list comprehension, wherein the list comprehension provides a concise way to create a list. Okay. So let's take here I'm creating one more empty list called list double equal to, of course I'm creating a one more empty list, and if I double equal to 3, sorry, nothing but I'll be appending the I into the empty list. List dot, what is the function? Append I, else list 1 dot append I. I'm also creating one empty list for the list 1. Okay. So if I run this condition, what would be my list and list 1 values? If I run this line of code, what would be the elements in this list and in this variable? Just tell me. Just give some answer. No need to worry.
In
If
list, 3 number will be added. In list 1, 1, 2, 4 will be added.
will print exactly where in the list, so we'll be going to have 3, and when it comes to list 1 we'll be going to have the 1, 2, 4. That's good. And so here this is one of the for loop condition, and so in order to have only the corresponding elements in the list, so we created an empty list, and based on the condition, so we are appending those corresponding elements in the uh, empty list or the given list. That is happened. That is what exactly is happening here. So so by using the list comprehension, what we are doing, list comprehension provides a concise way to create a list, and we'll let you know how we are doing that. The common applications are make new list where each element is a result of some operations applied to the each member of the under sequence are iterable to create a subsequence of those elements that satisfies a certain condition. Okay, so we'll give you the without list comprehension. We'll show you one of the function. List x square is my empty list. Currently, I created an empty list within a variable called squares for I in range of 10, nothing but for I in range of 0 to 9. Okay. So if you keep the range function, then only it will go for the, it knows that, so the range from 0 to 9, something like that. So if I run this line of code, what would be my output? If I run this line of code, what would be the output in my squares variable? And what function, and one more thing. So what is this function? What is it doing exactly? What will, what this operator will do exactly? What exactly this operator will do? Durga Prasad or Sanjana, please. So we had discussion already regarding these operators in the arithmetic operators in the operators discussion.
It will give squares of the number.
Exactly. So, and what would be the output? Means finally, what would be the output in the squares variable?
Zero, 1, 4, 9, 4 square, 5 square.
Exactly. So this is what is exactly happening. So we are doing here we are doing in a squaring the variable. So when we are going for the for I in the range of 10, here I'm going squares dot append and I squared. So I every time in every iteration the I is getting squared and the squared elements is being appending to the squares variable. Okay, and finally if I print I will be getting 0 1 4 9 something. This is happening without list comprehension, and with by using a list comprehension in a simple one sorry, in a simple one line of code I am doing the same operation. Okay, what I am doing in the very first I am defining my for loop for I in range of 10. Okay, thereafter I am doing I squared 2. So it is there in the list, enclosed list, and if I run the squares, of course was given this complete to the squares variable. Okay, and if I print the squares variable, we'll be getting the 0 1 4 9 16 25. So by using list comprehension we are concising our code, and we are concising our list of elements in a single line of code. Okay, so and you can also include if I square 2, if I square double 2 equal to 16, and now what is the number of list of elements in the square variable? Now what is the list of elements in the square variable if I run this line of code? Just speak up, say some value, maybe that is true or false as a secondary, but you need to. Come fast, Durga Prasad.
A 0.
No. So if I run this line of code, okay, what would be the elements of list in the squares variable? Tell me, you are saying something. If I run this line of so by making the condition of I squared means here by making the condition of if I squared double equal to 2, so I squared double equal to 16 something that if the condition satisfy and that condition satisfied element only will be going to append in the new list. Okay, new variable something that, and here there is one more example of list -10 -20 10 20 50. and create a new list with values doubled. So if I do this I square for I in list, if I print this, what happened? What are the elements in the list, new list? Sorry, what are the elements in the LST variable will be getting double, and this doubled elements and the s- the the doubled values elements are being stored in the new list. That is what exactly previously we have, where in the list we have minus 10, minus 20, 10, 20, 50. After doubling, after doing this operation, so it's been printing minus 20, minus 40, 20, 40 and 100. Similarly, so filter the list to execute negative numbers. So if I want only the negative numbers, sorry, if I don't want to have the negative numbers in my list, that is a minus 10, minus 20, I don't want these elements in the list. So in order to not to have that, we are doing for I in list, for I in list, if I greater than equal to 0, then only I'm printing the new list. Okay. So the similarly, if I run this line of code, I'll be getting only 10, 20, 50. Why? Because while doing the looping, I make one condition. If I greater than equal to 0, it means that only the numbers which are greater than 0, those numbers only will be going to add in the new list. Did you get? And so there is one more function, create a list of tuples like number comma square of number. So here I'm trying to create a tuple, the tuple having the number and the square of number. So in order for that, for I in range of 10, so of course my range is from 0 to 9, that is 10. So for I in range of 10 and print, I'll be creating a new tuple. The tuple will be having the, what you say, I and I squared 2, so that in the very starting it will be having 0 comma 0, 1 comma 2, 2 comma 4, like that we'll be having up to 9. So if I print the new list, so I'll be getting this variables. Okay, na? So so this is what exactly in list comprehension. So where in the list comprehension also we have one more a method called nested list comprehension. Did you get the list comprehension exactly?
Yes, sir.
So in most of the time in our real-time scenarios, most of the time we'll be going for the list comprehension. Why? Because if you go for the for loop, if you like, if you're having the multiple conditions, and if you try to write the code, so it will be like going for the lines of code. So instead of overcome that issue, we'll be simply going for the list comprehension. Okay. And nested list comprehension, of course, let's take, we are having a matrix. So if I print max, if I print this one, I'll be getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like list of the list, this list having the sublist. These are the sublist 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sublist. Okay. And a transpose of a matrix without list comprehension. If I want to transpose, like, we'll show you what is the print of matrix first. Print of matrix. Okay. So previously I am having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in my matrix variable. So now I want to do a transpose. Now I want to transpose a matrix. So generally, if I transpose, then I will be getting a list having the 159 as one sublist 267, 3711, 4812. So this is a scenario I will be getting the sublist. I was expecting this type of output. Okay, in order to have this type of output, I am making one simple what you say logic. So here I am creating one empty list of transpose variable having empty list for I in range of 4, nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4 something 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, LST equal to empty for row in matrix. So this is first row in my matrix. For row in matrix, LST at append row dot I. So in the list LST empty list, I will be appending the very first index, that is a 1, and transport dot append LST. Transpose the empty list. Now I will be appending the LST. In the very first time, I will be having the LST value is the I. So similarly, in order to debug, just do one thing: print, right? Print command for each and everything. See here. So in the very first starting, so I was doing for I in range of 4. So in the starting, my I is 0, and row. When I am saying row, this is my first row 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am appending the row index of I very first value, that is a 1. Of course, row I is 0 na, row index of 0 nothing but 1. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So next time I will be going for the next line, that is a 5, 6, 7, 8. At the, where in the 5, 6, 7, 8, what would be the first index? 5. Similarly, I will be going for the next row. And what is the first index in the 9, 10, 11, 12? 9. So in such a way that I am creating one list, that is 159, and I will be adding this 159 to the my transpose list, empty list, in such a way that if I go for the second index, if I go for the one index, at the time what I will be getting? I will be getting 2, 6, 10. Similarly, second index 3, 7, 11. Similarly, fourth index, sorry, third index 4, 8, 12. In such a way that we are getting every list. In such a way that we will be getting every list, and this list will be going to append to the transpose list. In such a way that in final scenario, wherein the transpose list will be having the all the list of sublist. Okay, I think you got it now, if I'm correct. So instead of going for the, of course, this is a list comprehension, means nested list comprehension. Nested list comprehension nothing but the list having the sublist. So, for example, instead of going for that big logic, I'll be going for a simple logic. What I'll be doing for I in range of 4, for row in matrix, okay, take the first index. So if I run this logic, I'll be getting the same response. So this is a with list comprehension, and this is the list without list comprehension. Okay, getting any, are you fine, or any discrepancy or any doubts? Just confirm.
No, sir.
So in real-time scenarios, most of the time we'll be working on the list only. So why means whereas the list will be having good number of functions, and those functions will be using for the data manipulation. Okay, so data correction for this type of scenarios, for data wrangling, for this type of scenarios, list is a very good option. Why? Because whereas the list, as it is immutable, we can do multiple operations, and whereas list can have the multiple data types, different data types, and by using these functions, we can manipulate the data, we can wrangle the data, we can do we can play with the data. So for that reason, most of the time we'll be going for the list. And so whereas the list having the some of the functions, like as we discussed already, the functions would include length, append, insert, remove for removing any element in the list, appending the uh, elements to the existing list, and extend is the same, delete to delete any element in the list based upon the index position, and the removing the element, first element in the means removing any element from the list will be going for the remove, and reversing the list order, and also sorting the elements in the list, and indexing, slicing, and using the count function to know the frequency of the elements in the list, and list looping, list comprehensions, to make to concise the code, or what is exactly. This is a very precise or concise way to create a list. For that reason, we'll be going for the list comprehension and nested list comprehension. These are some of the functions that we'll be having in the one of the data structure. The data structure name is the list. And now we'll be going for the tuple, one more data structure. So tuples. So then one more data structure that we'll be going to discuss is the tuple. Of course, a tuple is similar to list, but the major difference between the list and the tuple is that whereas in list, so we can change the, or we can alter the elements, but we can't do this type of thing in the tuple. So once the values, see here, the difference between the two is that we can't change the elements of elements of tuple once it is assigned, whereas in the list, the elements can be changed. This is the only one difference between the list and tuple. So list is a mutable where we can alter the elements in the list, but we can't do the same operation in the tuple. And one more thing is that, so this is how of course, whereas in the list is a ordered collection of elements which are separated by a comma and enclosed by a square bracket. When it comes to a tuple is an ordered collection of elements which are separated by a comma and enclosed by a parenthesis or a small brackets, so whatever it may be. Okay, and list is an mutable and tuple is an immutable. So once we assign the variables in the, or elements in the tuple, so we can't do any changes. Oh, okay, and tuple having the integers, like take if you remember, as I discussed in the list, so list can have multiple data types. Similarly, so whereas tuple also can have the multiple data types or mixed data types. And nested tuple, of course, as we have how we can have multiple sublists in a list. Similarly, we can have the same thing. We can have multiple subtuples in a tuple. Okay, and oh, if you type, if you want to know the what is this, let's take I'm having a tuple of is having the Satish, and if I want to know the type of the tuple, so if I do the simple type, it will give the string. And you may have a doubt, as per our scenario, so it need to be a tuple, but why it is showing it as a string? Just let me know. Just let me know why it is showing it as a string type.
Because
Anyone? Yeah,
it doesn't have comma in it.
exactly. Why? Because as per our definition itself, the tuple is the ordered collection of elements which are separated by a comma and enclosed in a small brackets. See here, this is not separated by anything. Okay, so wherein tuple, it must and should need to be end with comma. Okay, so that is the reason. And of course, if I run the same thing here, it is giving my type as a tuple. And so the same thing, t equal to Satish comma. So if I run this also, I'll be getting the, if I try to know the type of the t variable, so I'll be getting the same thing, tuple. Okay, if I print the t, then I would be getting the Satish. The this value element was in the tuple and ended with the comma. And accessing elements in a tuple. So of course, wherein tuple also, by having the index value, we can get the respective element. From this condition, this is my tuple is having the list of elements Satish, Murli, Naveen, Srinu and Brahma. And if we go with the index, 0 is a Satish, 1 is a Murli, 2 index is a Naveen, 3 index is a 4, so Srinu, 4th index is a Brahma. Here I am trying to print the T of first index. Nothing but first index is a Murli. So this is how we'll be getting the respective element based upon the position. If I do the same thing, minus 1 would be the Brahma. So this is what exactly printing t index of minus 1, nothing but print last element in a tuple. And nested tuple. Nested tuple is nothing but tuple having the subtuples. Okay, na? Here ABC, and when it comes to the subtuple is having the Satish. Of course, nested tuple, you can say in simple words, nested tuple having the Satish, Naveen and Srinu. If I want the first index position of the tuple, and this is my 0 index, this is my first index, so that when the first index will be getting the Satish, Naveen and Srinu. And if I want only the Satish in the nested tuple, then I'll be going for the tuple of first index, that is the Satish, Naveen and Srinu, and we'll be having the, wherein the first index or the nested loop, nested tuple, I want the second index value 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, so that it is printing the Srinu. Okay, so this is how we are using the index functionality in the tuple. Similarly, we can also use a slicing operation. So if I do the slicing of 1 to 4, what would be the value? Yeah, Durga Prasad, you're saying something.
2, 3, 4.
Yes, exactly. 1, 2, 3. Super. And what would be the t minus 2? For example, what would be this value?
5.
5. Tell me exactly now. Hello? Hey, Durga Prasad.
Sir.
You are saying this 5, but as per the condition, so for example, if this is the condition, it means it will print the all the elements in the tuple.
Okay,
But
sir.
if I am saying here it is having -2. -2 means this is my -2. Okay. I am saying
Okay.
that I want values from first two before -5. That is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 will be printing. Okay. Similarly, if I give only hyphen, I will be getting all the elements in the tuple. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, na? So this is what exactly. And this is the thing is that most of the scenarios will be going for the indexing and slicing, and you need to be perfect with the indexing and slicing. So I'll be providing notes, not an issue. As I told you that, so unlike list, tuples are immutable. So that means that we can't do any alter or changes in the tuple. Let's take a simple example. Here I am having the tuple having the elements of 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course there is one more nested list 5, 6, 7. And what would be the index of now if I went for the index of 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay, 3 is my second index. If I want to replace 3 with the x value, if I run this, I'll get an error. Why? Because so where in tuple we can't do any alternation. Okay, na? This is one of the example that we can say that tuple is immutable. And here you can say that t is my tuple. Let's take fourth index and first index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my fourth index. Okay, this is my fourth index. In the fourth index, I want to alter the first one, that is the 0. I want to change 6 to Satish. Yeah, I can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Satish 7. Okay. Why it has been changed? Why? Because this is list. Okay. And where in list we can alter the elements, but where in tuple we can't. But if the tuple having a nested list, we can alter the elements in the nested list. Okay. So when it comes to concatenating the tuples, so how we are doing this operation in the list, the same thing we'll be doing here, like by using the plus operation. So we'll be simply concatenating, not up means okay, adding the not adding the concatenating the elements in the tuple. So when I'm saying concatenating, all the list of elements will be going to be present in a single variable. That is a t. And same thing, Satish into 4. So if I do Satish into 4, I'll be getting the Satish will be repeated for the 4 times. Satish, 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 Satish. Okay, that we can by simply nothing but and if I do t equal to 2 comma print t1. Now what is the output for the t1? What is the output for the t1?
2 is printed 6 times.
It's fine, it's good. So this is how the tuple will works. And when I'm saying tuple deletion, so if I do delete, of course, this is my tuple variable t having a list of elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I want to delete the complete tuple, then I will be going for the simple del comma t. Okay, and if I'm going to check the if I go into check the t value, t variable, obviously it will throw error. Why? Because here we deleted the t tuple already. That is the reason here it was showing that t is not defined. Okay, na? So where and tuple, so we can delete the. So we cannot change the elements in a tuple. That also means we cannot delete or remove items from a tuple. Okay, na? So that is the reason here we are using the del operation for to delete the complete tuple variable and tuple count, as how we are having the count function in the list, where in tuple also we are having the same thing. By using the count function, we are trying to find out the frequency of elements in a tuple. Here I am counting for the one element. If you see the frequency of one time, 2 time and 3 time. So that is the reason we are getting 3 as a value. Now if you go for the tuple index, so how we are doing the same operation in the list, we'll be doing the same thing here. 0, 1, t dot index of 3. So 1, 2, sorry, 0, 1, 2. Here if I want to know the index of the element in the tuple, here I will be doing is t dot index of 3, so that we will be getting 2, 0, 1, 2 position. And tuple membership. So in order to check how we are checking the whether the particular element was not is there in the list or not, we'll be doing the same thing here. So by using the in operation, we'll be checking whether respective element was there in the tuple or not. So as 1 is there in the tuple, it is returning the true. As 7 is not there in the tuple, it is returning the false. So this is one of the membership, like test if an item exists in a tuple or not using a keyword called in. And built-in functions, tuple length. So in order to find out the length of the tuple, or in order to find the number of elements in the tuple, so we'll be using a simple operator called length, function called length. So these are the built-in functions. Okay, and tuple sort, how we are sorting the elements in the list, we'll be doing the, so there will be using the sorted function. Similarly here also we'll be using the same built-in function, that is called sorted. By using the sorted, we are trying to sorting the elements in the tuple. So now I'll be getting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as my output. And simply V2 have the some of the inbuilt functions like max. Max will give the maximum number in the tuple, that is 9. And similarly min tuple, here it will be going to give the minimum number in the tuple, that is 1. And if I want the sum of the elements of the tuple, by using the sum as a default function, we'll get the sum of the elements, that is 23. Okay, this is the complete, what to say, this is complete thing about the tuple. So the main difference between the tuple and list is that list is a ordered collection of elements which are separated by a comma and enclosed in a square bracket. And also tuple is a mutable, where we can change the elements of the list we can alter, okay, we can replace, we can do certain operations, we can delete the elements, and we can remove some of the elements. But when it comes to tuple is also similar to list, but tuple is nothing but a ordered collection of elements, and which are enclosed by which are separated by a comma and enclosed in a small brackets or the parentheses, in simple words. And of course, as same as list. So whereas tuple can have multiple data types, and but the challenge here is tuple is immutable, so we can't do any alternation. Okay, we can't do any alter, we can't do any changes. So this is the main difference between the list and tuple. You may have, I want to say one more thing. So if I do some for loop, okay, I'm having for loop of let's take 1000. Okay, if I go for the for loop with the list and for loop with the tuple, the for loop with the tuple will take minimum time when compared to the list. Why? Because whereas in list will be storing each and every element in its particular memory, but in tuple it's storing in the temporary memory. So that is the reason the time for list is quite more than the tuple. And yeah, so this is what exactly about the tuple function. So as we discussed that the scenario of the list and tuple, so any doubt, please let me know. Any doubt for list and tuple? And even I suggest you to maintain a IPython notebook, and whatever you find, like just note down in the IPython notebook. So like here I was creating the headlines and markdowns. Okay, these all are the markdowns and these are the headline. Okay, so you can also create in simple scenario. If you all are good, then we can wrap up the session. Any doubts? Could you please let me know?
No, sir, no.
Yeah, just a minute.